Welcome to the Endless Void Podcast, where we talk about something, nothing, and everything in between. Now, here's your host, Ian 47 Ryan.
There we go. Bob, welcome to the Endless Void Podcast. How you doing today?
Great. Really excited to be here. Your first guest.
Yeah, now that we're opened up from the state. We're opened up. We can get together in South Carolina now.
Yeah, it's great.
That's good. We how did it affect you personally? You were essential, right? Technically?
Nothing changed in my life at all.
You were still going around doing everything that you did before?
Pretty much work-wise and social-wise, yes.
Social-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends I go visit.
Bob, that's a no-no here in South Carolina, sir.
Well, it's just like one person. And we keep 6 feet apart.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people, like the hustle and bustle is that it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. And see, my thing is a lot of people are, oh, well, I don't have it, or nobody I know has it. So screw this thing. Like, open it back up. Like, we the people demand it. Our rights are being taken away. Like, let's get this show on the road. So, do you feel like the state overstepped any boundaries as far as locking down in a state of emergency?
Well, I mean, constitutional-wise, state rights versus federal government, bullshit like that. Actually,
Into the mic.
They can do whatever the fuck they want. Oh, the heck they want.
No, that's fine. We're good. We're within the 2 minutes. That's okay. We're good.
They have the power. They'll, say whatever the hell the law is, and if we got more guns than you, and you better listen to us.
So my understanding of it was as long as the federal government doesn't step in, so martial law type stuff, as long as the federal government doesn't step into a state and demand how they run things, and the state decides on their own, that is completely acceptable with how they run stuff. I mean, that's just how I interpreted it. So the state can lock things down, or I was saying earlier tonight that they consider a job and driving and stuff like that privileges, not rights. So under those laws, like they can shut stuff down in states of emergency and lock everything down to, like, where do you draw the line between, okay, well, these people have rights who want to go out and continue their job, but these people also have rights who don't want to get sick and don't want to contract the virus. Like, where's a good line to draw? And that's kind of where the issue's coming in, I think.
Well, you could leave it up to the individual. Say, okay, here's the options. You could go out in public and hang out, or you could quarantine. I mean, we'll give you $600 to stay in your house and not work extra, or you can go to work and be a dumbass and not get the $600.
That's true. So a lot of what we had, like in the medical field, is that there aren't visitors allowed, and there was a big stink on that because people thought that they had the right to come visit their families, which, yes, but at the same time, the elderly are so affected by this that keeping everybody out, unless there was a specific situation where, like, health was declining or something like that, like, then you could allow family in. But outside of that, we cut all ties off. And a lot of people were upset about that.
Well, everybody except the nurses who worked in those places, and they didn't have to deal with the family members coming to visit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to look at the bright side to everything.
There's always a silver lining. There's always a silver lining. Not dealing with families, deathly disease. It's kind of. And then I kind of want to bring up a lot of people, especially you all out there watching this. The idea behind wearing masks isn't to protect you. So the idea is, and yes, before we get into the whole, yes, it is in the best sanitary option. You're wearing the same mask all the time. Like, people are wearing the same gloves all the time. Like, we're not equipped to handle all this, so you kind of have to reuse resources. But it's still safer than not having one, for the sole purpose that if everybody had one, the numbers would go down, because what it does is, instead of you coughing or sneezing and this big giant poof of COVID ends up in the air that can last about 9 hours, you contain that in a smaller bubble.
So that's why doctors wear masks in operating rooms, because if they cough and they're cutting somebody open, their stuff gets all over you.
Masks are designed to protect other people, not yourself. Unless you get into bigger masks and more high-tech masks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
chemical
what we
masks
need.
and gas masks.
That's what I want.
A gas mask for COVID?
Yeah, like
they're uncomfortable, but they work.
What do they call them? A rebreather or something? Or
I think that's for underwater.
Oh,
you could have a rebreather. I guess that could be considered a rebreather because it filters out air. But I don't know how well a gas mask would. I don't know how that holds up against disease. I know it holds up against gas. But I don't know how well that filters out disease and stuff.
Right. How many microns does it filter out?
We could dress everybody, take a page out of the Canadian border and stuff, and just dress everybody in hazmat. Or they had the giant. Did you see the pictures with the people with the giant shields around them? They're 4-foot shields, circular shields. They look like Bubble Boy walking around with those stupid things on.
I like it.
Oh, you like it, Kayla? Yeah. Well, you wear a mask at work. Yeah. You got to speak up a little bit into the mic.
Yeah, I do.
And so you're essential.
I guess, yeah.
You speak up. You got to speak up or turn your mic up some on the slider. Yeah, slider 1. There you go. So you're essential.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay.
So with you guys, you were only letting one person, 2 people in at a time. How many people are allowed in the store at a time?
So when it all first started, we were letting the maximum people was 3 or 4.
Okay.
And I think we kind of just came up with that ourselves. And then not too long ago, it was 12 people in the store along with everyone that worked there. But now it's just right back to normal. So.
Okay, yeah. So you guys, so what, as of Monday?
Yeah.
Everybody open back up.
We're still practicing social distancing and trying to be safe and wiping everything down, sanitizing everything, and but yeah.
That's good. Yeah, and there's a lot of places still doing that, opened up, still wearing masks and stuff like that. Only letting certain people in. I went to Hooters on Wednesday, and
James went.
Oh, hang on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hang on, because
he didn't bring me any wings back. I was upset.
I'm sorry. the way that they did it, right? We walked in they're using the front door as an exit, which is kind of weird because there's exits already. But so when we went there, they walked James and I around the outside of the building, around the left side of the building, and then in through the back side of where the kitchen starts. So I'm not entirely sure what their goal is, because I don't know. Have you ever been to that Hooters
yeah.
So they have the bar set up, and then on the left side there's that opening that goes back to the kitchen, and there's that exit door. Yeah, we come in that kind of slightly into the kitchen and then walk through that opening at the bar and then around to your tables. And then you use the front entrance to leave. So I'm not entirely sure what the point of that was, because they have a back entrance and a front entrance, so why they wouldn't just use it. But there were like maybe 5 people in there, and the waitresses were wearing masks and stuff like that. So it was just, it's weird to me. Some of the precautions that these companies are taking are like why? So
it's useless, right?
Let me ask you this: if you were in charge of the state, if you were in charge of this whole situation, how would you implement what you were going to do? Like, what would you do to minimize risk of stuff and trying to appease people at the same time?
Well, I'd have to know the risk. I mean, right now, myself personally, I don't know what's fact or fiction in regards to, potency, death rate, how many humans are really dying from this shit. I mean, it seems like if the hospitals are being subsidized to make more money if someone dies from COVID, then, Joe Blow just died from a heart attack. He just happened to have that COVID, which had nothing to do with his death, but, he had it, so now he's one of the victims. We just add him to the numbers, and plus we get more money for it, so, no big deal. So I'm thinking maybe you don't know what to believe. Numbers could be inflated or, hell, we could have lived through these pandemics like 15, 20 years ago and not even had a clue because, social media or anything like that, no one knew about it. Just people was like, oh, it's a really bad flu. And, just didn't connect.
Yeah.
We could have done this times before and not even known it.
So you wouldn't shut down the state. You'd let
that.
People's immune system. No, I'm asking. Like,
that's like kind of natural selection kind of thing. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, you want to just go natural selection and say, hey, fuck it, whoever has the antibodies, it's like playing cards. Okay, I'm in.
Well, yes, you know this about me. I am a huge supporter of natural selection. I won't lie. I'll say it right here. I think natural selection is a great thing, and we'll get into it in a little bit. We can talk about natural selection here in a bit. But so, do you think that shutting down an entire state lockdown, it blew our economy up like bad? Like, our economy is pretty screwed at the moment.
Like I said earlier, I always look at shit in a positive way. Like, instead of like worrying about the economy and all that bullshit, I'm thinking, well, hell, the earth has got kind of like a little day off from all the bullshit that we produce. All the traffic jams that ain't happening, all the emissions that are,
the first vacation.
All that bullshit that we're, shitting, pooping out into the air, and, maybe came to a little pause and earth can take a deep breath for a second.
Yeah, I think what was it in India, I believe, where they saw, what is it? Is it India that's the Himalaya? What mountain range is that? Is it?
Well, Himalayas are in there.
Yeah, and they could actually see them.
India.
Yeah. They said they could actually see them for the first time in like 70 years or something like that through the smog. Like the smog went away, and they were actually able to like see that mountain range through blue skies for the first time in like 70 years or something like that.
That's nice.
Dolphins are starting to come. I mean, it's amazing how fast that the earth can repair itself. Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. Yes.
I mean, we're just. I mean, that just further goes to show we're this little minute, like. And as far as the Earth is concerned, like, humans are super important. Like, as far as the expanse is concerned, like, who are humans? Like, we're just this little blip, like this little tiny thing in time that's just bloop here off. And
we're nothing to the Earth.
But I mean,
we may be some pestilence that came here on some meteorite or whatever the hell it came, and now we're like, infected the planet.
Well, I think one of the most important things we should take away from this, and I mean, obviously, like, the economy shutting down is not good, and the way that some stuff is handled isn't good. I mean, what can you do? It's like a 50-50 toss on who you're going to appeal to. But I think one of the biggest things that human population should take away from this is, wow, like, look what we do to this place. And in such a short amount of time, like a 2-month lockdown, look at what's come back. That's what I take away from this. Like, this whole COVID thing, like, scientists have been coming out with all this research and showing all this stuff, and it's just like, wow, like, look at this repair itself. Like, I think humans should take that away. Like, I don't care about the $1,200 stimulus check. Like, holy cow, you can see the mountains in India. Like, that's insane.
Well, I like both parts. I like it when they give us money. I think that's cool.
But you know
it's
that's
like,
going to bite us.
How does that work?
It's going
It's like, hey, it's like, don't go to work. We'll get you unemployment. Plus, we'll give you a $600 bonus per week. And, like, there's, people working through this shit. And it's like, well, I'm making my normal wage. I like the stimulus check, but, hey, I could go for that $600 extra while I am working,
Yeah. Also, before I forget.
If you're handing out money, shit.
Kale, I don't like doing this in the middle of the podcast, but you should see a line on those cameras angles that's like a green line, and it's showing you that volume is coming through. Yeah. Okay, so those are glowing. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that volume's going through because it would suck to record this and not have any of the volume.
Yeah, there's one. It says Roadcaster.
Okay, so that's coming through. Yeah. Okay, good.
That's the only one.
All right, so we are set. Okay, sorry about that. First show, testing it out. I love how the hats keep changing, man. Every time I look away and look back, the hats keep changing.
Yes. It's now he's Papa Castro.
I wish I had my beard.
Papa Castro.
Perfect.
Laying down the law.
Also, so I can't see the bonsai.
You can't see the pretty bonsai tree?
Yeah, you can't see it at all.
I mean, you can move that monitor.
No.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a... That's fine. Do you want me to slide it over?
No, move the bonsai over where Boba is down there.
Oh, you want me to move it so you can see it?
Yeah.
Here, let me
so
see.
you want me to do it like this?
Oh, that looks beautiful.
And then you want me to move this like right here. Can you see it now?
Oh, yes. It's perfect.
All right. Can you see this one now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We have the trees.
Oh, that's perfect. Yes. I love
it. You're not going to hold it. You can't hold it up the whole time.
No, Dad, put it back over there by the...
Yeah, they get a best angle because it's a wide angle view. Or keep the bonsai, whatever makes you comfortable.
I love it.
Oh, shit. Can you still see it right there?
No, you got to move it like here.
Right there.
Right there. See, now they're in line with each other.
Yeah.
And then this one, I can actually move like this. There, that's perfect, right?
Yes.
All right, now we got trees. All right, so
perfect.
We're doing our part for Mother Nature.
Yes.
We got some succubus, and it's gonna through photosynthesis and these giant daylight bulbs and stuff. It's going to we're doing our part. So, and the shades come on. I love it, man. I love it.
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? I said I was going to wait till later, but I'm doing it now. Damn it. This is my show.
God.
Go ahead.
We're talking about natural selection.
Why?
I'm doing it because I'm a huge fan. Okay, so it's hard to do this without like bringing up names and stuff. I'm not. I know people who don't want vaccines.
Hey.
Wait.
Go.
Let me. So not everybody. Okay, it's your right. I don't get it. Whatever. But I'm a huge fan of natural selection, and like one of the things that I always bring up to people, it seems to get kind of like a throwback, is people say, well, I want the right to go outside. I want the right to do whatever, and you have the right to stay inside. And I always ask people, well, do we have the right as medical personnel to deny you care then if you want to go out? Well, no, that's a Hippocratic oath. Okay. Here's my whole thing. Like, if it should be treated like a hurricane down here, right? So what happens when they declared a state of emergency and tell everybody to evacuate? What do they tell those staying back? Okay, well, you're not getting police, you're not getting firemen, you're not getting ambulance. So like our emergency personnel will not respond to you. Okay, same thing with this. Like, hey, if you want to go out, if you want to gather in groups, if you want to protest, whatever, that's fine. But all these care options will no longer to be available to you because we've given you the warnings. We've told you how to handle this, and you've gone against it. So to me, it just listen, man. If people are gonna get it, they're gonna get it, and then
But actually, though, after the hurricane's over, the people that are like, laying in the middle of the road with, broken bones and whatever, it would be firemen's and first responders' responsibility to take care of them.
Eventually, when they get there.
Yeah, it could be days later, but they'd still be alive.
Well, yeah,
maybe.
I mean, we take care of them last. Like, okay, hey, you have COVID. What were you doing last week? Okay. Oh, I was partying in Daytona Beach. All right, well, hang on. We're going to put you over here.
Okay, yeah.
This guy got it, randomly just sitting in his house, and somebody delivered him mail, and he got it through, like, whatever, touching something. So.
Or working in the medical field.
Yeah. They just do a priority case by case.
Or, a dancer at a topless bar.
But I always say that humans, technologically, we are at the peak of evolution right now for our technology. Like in the last 200 years, it's been absolutely insane how far we've come from rocks and fire and like primitive like boats and stuff. I mean, that wasn't 200 years. I'm just saying.
200 years we came a long way.
So 200 years ago, we'll say, okay, what is America? 270, 200, what is it? 35, 45?
Let's ask our
1775, 7245.
I'll look it up. Hold on.
So coming over here in like wooden boats and stuff to launching rockets into space to where we are now with medical. And I mean, I talk about it. Elon Musk talking about a neural link that you can put in people's heads and potentially cure Alzheimer's and quadriplegia and all kinds of stuff. And
243 years old.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah, you were close.
Or, using a satellite to control a drone to like, blow your ass out in your backyard from, however far away they see you at.
So technologically we're like zooming and biologically, I feel like we're kind of taking a fallback because we've come up with vaccines, we've come up with antibiotics, we've come up with all this stuff biologically to keep people alive longer. that the strong aren't surviving, we're keeping everybody alive. And that biologically we're kind of like a step back, but technologically we're far ahead, which is why. I don't know if you know this.
I'm coughing my lungs up.
That's all right.
Don't die.
So I don't know if you know this, but they said within like the next 200,000 years or something like that humans will be a machine civilization. That's how we will leave our mark. Because, I mean, think about it. A self-replicating machine, let's say that, if they go that route, would survive how long? And be able to travel how far? Like, look at the Voyager. How far? You were when Voyager was launched. How old were you when Voyager was launched? What was it launched in 76?
Oh, I was old.
Oh, I was not born at all.
I was 18, 19, 20,
yeah.
50. I was 20 years old.
So now it's outside of the solar system. Like it's out there. Like look at that. And what was our technology like back then? We could build something now that could beat it to where it's at. It could actually go further than that, faster than that.
Well, who knows what's going to come up now after that?
They're building light sails, I believe is what they're called. And they basically build these tiny little probes. They said they're about 3 or 4 meters across. That's it, just a little probe with a camera on it.
Sure.
And they build these sails that they actually shoot lasers at, and they can get to go 2/10 the speed of light. Or 2/100 the speed of light. 2% the speed of light or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's 2%. I think it's 2%. But they're expecting to go to that Alpha Centauri star system. It'll take them 20 years to get there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But do like a flyby picture, though, because it's going so fast, there's no way to slow it down yet.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, I think it all has to do with electromagnetic controlling of space time is how time, how these people move across space. That's the way it is. It's all gravity, being able to control.
Yeah. If only we knew how gravity. I mean, if we could break it apart, we would have the answer to, one of the greatest questions ever asked is how does this work? I mean, even Newton.
What are you laughing at?
Here's the thing. Even Newton, if you look at Newton now, like a super advanced race that, I love throwing this out there, like a super advanced race that knows how gravity works would look at somebody like Newton, like a caveman that goes, oh, up must come down. Up must come down. Like, and to us, that was like one of the greatest discoveries ever is that gravity existed. But like, now that we're so far past this and are starting to understand how this works,
I thought that would be a natural thing. You'd walk off a cliff and fall down and die. It's like, oh, I guess I won't do that again.
But we never.
Oh, I see what you did there.
But we never quite understood why. And still don't really. You ask anybody how gravity works, it's like, I don't know, things pull stuff in. And now they know that gravity can actually like push stuff out. So that throws the whole game off. Because before we thought gravity pulled everything in. And now gravity, when things are far enough away from each other, actually push it apart. So now we're back to square one. We don't know anything. It's like, whoops.
Gravity, centrifugal force, the earth is spinning. There's a metal ball of molten lava inside of us spinning at a different speed than the outside. And the crust, it's all like electricity and, power. And, that's what it's all about.
We're very lucky to be here. Yeah. Humans are kind of like a freak in nature, really, if you look at it kind of
Yep,
in that sense. Like
right.
Don't jinx it.
I'm just saying
Don't jinx it.
we're so lucky to be here as humans. Like, we're so lucky. Yeah. Just right chance that something ate something else, and instead of devouring it, had a symbiotic relationship with it, and then it just started to develop from there and evolve. And that's literally like, there it is. There it is. Jeff Goldblum. One of the greatest lines ever, there it is. Yeah. Life finds a way.
Oh, yeah, life does. It's amazing because I try to kill things a lot, and I have a hard time. I mean, it really resists.
Like what?
Oh, like algae in swimming pools. Holy shit. You could really have such a high degree of chlorine in the water that it would be unsafe for humans. But because there's some other thing in the water that feeds the chlorine, it's almost like chlorine, steroids. It just happens. It just blooms. And it's like, how can this shit happen? It's just.
I thought chlorine was like bleach, and it was supposed to just like kill
everything. Yeah, chlorine will. It would kill. You wouldn't you shouldn't be in the pool. But this shit's still growing. It's just.
I never heard of that. That's crazy.
Well, yeah. It's like those things that grow in the bottom of the ocean where the heat vents are. Those little tube snakes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh my God, nothing could grow down there, and it's like because of the chemicals or the food. Actually, it's the food that's coming out that is so plentiful that this shit just can survive through. Really hard times, like people trying to kill it, but the food's so good.
I didn't know that. I didn't know stuff gets. You know what? I wonder if I'm sure they've studied that, but that's crazy. I didn't know that stuff could survive in chlorine. I thought it was like uninhabitable.
No,
I mean, I guess nothing's uninhabitable, but you would assume like bleach. I mean, 99.9% of germs or whatever. So I didn't know that things could adapt and live in chlorine like that. I guess it makes sense, though. Because, I mean, how long have we been putting chlorine in pools? Long time now.
Oh, since the Roman times.
Since the Roman times.
Yes, for a while.
There was plenty,
they had
Romans
chlorine
invented the
Parthenons.
pool boy. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They started out with salt swimming pools, natural salt sanitation. Then they got into silver, because silver sanitizes Yes, they would have silver pools.
I don't know how the Romans had time to do anything because it was
Hey,
just one giant orgy
knows
after the
his
next.
shit.
Oh yeah, but
When it comes to
it was
pools,
killing
knows
and
his shit.
orgies.
Ew.
It was cool.
That was
torturing people.
No, I mean that was
Yes.
yeah,
we
the
were torturing-
Iron Bowl.
Or no,
Oh.
like they'd like to impale people.
Yeah, have you ever
Impale
seen-
them and crucify them.
No.
Shit like that.
Have you ever seen the Iron Bowl?
Yes. Yeah.
No, I didn't see that movie.
So the Iron Bowl.
No, Dad, it's bad.
The Iron Bowl. In fact, this is crazy. I forget the emperor who did it.
It's really.
He wasn't
bad.
around long. Built an iron bowl, and the idea was that it had a door on the side, and they would put somebody in there,
Oh, and then
light a
up.
fire
Yeah.
underneath it, right? But the
Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
invented it was showing the emperor how it worked. It was like showing him that you could put somebody in there and stuff, and the emperor had them throw him in it, shut it, and test it. The guy who made it got burned first.
Oh.
They threw him in
Cool.
there. Yeah, it melts you. I mean, it basically melts you. So they said that you would probably suffocate before it got to that point, but it would be like extremely uncomfortable.
No.
So,
You would suffocate. Intense
think-
heat.
I don't think that. Yeah.
so yeah, because it would get so hot and humid in there that you would actually suffocate because I mean, fire uses what? I mean, it burns out all the
Well,
oxygen.
I would
so,
imagine your feet that you're standing on would get hot.
well, you could probably I mean, I'm sure it would, but the oxygen would get sucked right out of that bowl. So they said that the end point was that you would become liquefied, and that your body liquid would turn to steam and blow out the nose of the bowl.
I will. I will
Yeah.
literally.
That would be some
throw
stinky
up right
steam.
now. I'm not kidding.
So
what
that was-
really? What a way to go.
Yeah, he
That's
tortured. I think they said probably 100, 150 people got put in that, and then he got taken over, and they threw the iron pole in the ocean, and it was never found.
Damn it. It'd be worth a lot of money.
It could be. I don't know if it was made out of. I don't know if it was made out of iron or bronze or gold or what. It looked gold, but I mean, it could have been like a bronze bowl. Maybe it was a bronze bowl, because I think bronze is very heat conductive, so it might have been a bronze bowl.
Has to be something that wouldn't melt. So.
What about pouring liquid molten gold down someone's throat?
I think they used to do that back
That would
then
be
too.
really bad.
I seen that in one of the movies. It was awesome.
Yeah, I
think it would burn
I
through the
think-
bottom.
well, they did on Game of
Eventually.
Thrones too. I think they used to. I don't know if they did it down people's throats, but I'm pretty sure they did it back in medieval times when they were also doing the hot oil and the tar and feathering and the stretching and the medieval. Listen, those guys were nuts. The torture devices, those guys the stretcher and the
Why don't we
disembowelments.
grab
and
his
that.
intestines
Yeah.
and just grab one and we'll start pulling it out. Put it on this reel and we'll just reel out his guts
Yeah.
little by little. Yeah, that's cool.
You've been switching,
Yeah, I'm
you
glad
been
I don't
switching
live
cams,
back
or are you
then.
just sitting back?
No, I'm just in here.
So, no, they had a lot of torture devices. I've actually seen a real life chastity belt in a museum, and it actually
In a
did. It was
museum.
like a well, no, it was like an actual belt they put on. It was an actual belt they would put on, right?
Yeah.
But it had like an iron triangle on it that would go inside of a woman, and it would wear that belt. They would lock it in place.
Do you think it would chaff her if she walked around a lot?
I would assume that would be very uncomfortable and probably hurt quite a bit. But I don't know. I think, even in the history of stuff, and they've proven, it's so crazy that was our go-to, because torture really doesn't work. Maybe 1 out of 20 will have some valuable information, but anybody else is just going to tell, if somebody came to me for no reason, I had nothing to do with anything, and they were just like, where was this woman on January 14th, 1997? I'm like, I don't know. And then they started ripping off my fingernails. I'd be like, she was at Walmart. She was at Walmart.
Whatever.
What are you gonna do?
Holy shit.
It doesn't work. So the fact that we've tried so many torture methods over, what was it, even in the Spanish Inquisition, the big wheel of fire they'd put people on and just slowly roll. Like, what are you gonna do? I mean, if the end game is to just kill people and make them an example, yes.
I think they did it because they like doing it. I mean, you're right. It's like, you know, oh, you're not going to be a Christian? Well, we're going to torture you until you become one.
Yeah.
You know, basically.
Or they used to, like, people used to sacrifice virgins, or, like, the amount of, if you look through history, the amount of stuff that was done in the name of religion is insane. Like they would have people that would see, like, a meteor or an eclipse or something and blame that on some sort of religious omen, and then either go slaughter people because it was a sign, or they would, that stuff. I was watching something they were talking about when the first comets were seen, that somebody thought it was a bad omen, so they pulled their troops back, and their troops ended up getting slaughtered because they pulled them back off the front lines at the wrong time, and they ended up getting slaughtered back in the day. Well,
they had the wrong people who were interpreting the signs. You know, the signs are there, but you have to have the right shaman to tell you what they mean.
Yeah, but it's crazy because back then, like, all these things were bad omens, right? Like, all bad signs. And now, like, people travel for thousands of miles to go see this stuff. Like, oh, there's going to be a comet study. Like, oh, there's going to be a total eclipse.
Yeah.
Like, back then it was like, oh, the gods are angry. Like, our crops are going to die. Like, let's sacrifice 10 virgins or something. And now people flock to see that stuff. So it's crazy how times change with the amount of information you have.
Well, knowledge, yeah. And, you know, how the universe works, or how our solar system works, at least.
That's all what it comes down to. Like, people were excommunicated from the Catholic Church for saying that the Earth didn't revolve around the sun, that the sun wasn't this, God thing, and that the Earth wasn't the center, that things didn't revolve around the Earth.
That was like 30 years ago. You know, we've changed a lot since then.
1990. We've become very progressive, and my mom was talking how crazy it was. Her and my sister had my nephews watching Back to the Future. It was I think it was Back to the Future 2, where they go forward to like 2004, 2003 or something like that. And one of them we were watching was like 2015, and they go forward. I mean, flying cars and like buttons you push that like make TVs show these like beautiful landscapes across like your window, and then like they roll up, like rolling up flat TVs like a projector almost, and pushing intercom buttons everywhere that can connect you to everybody. And here we're sitting like, well, what did we invent? Well, we have the internet, which is a shit show, and that is our contribution to this. But I mean, I love it because the internet lets us do stuff like this.
Oh yeah. You know, I was just flashing back to, 30 years ago in my head, thinking about how, it would be in the year 2020. Really, that's kind of crazy.
So what did you think it would be like compared to what it is now?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Nothing like it is now.
Were you?
So, no, yeah, not even close to. Yeah, no. Never thought it would be like a Trump thing and the COVID thing. Oh, yeah, this is all bizarro.
So,
yes,
here, let me.
Actually, it's like whoever's writing this movie, you're getting a little crazy, I liked it back in the, Leave It to Beaver days where it was wholesome, the Cold War. No one got killed. It was just cold.
Yeah. If I could live in Mayberry,
oh my gosh,
that's where I would go. Mayberry.
Now it's like zombies and fucking viruses.
If
Holy shit, the trees are gonna start eating us.
So I know that, and I've read a lot about this, but after the moon landing, which we're not getting into whether or not it's fake or not.
It was a good show.
Wait.
It did look
I
real.
I don't have this conversation. This conversation is null.
What conversation?
No. I want to know.
Want to have?
So during the moon landing, like once the moon landing, like Americans thought, I feel like that's where all this future stuff came from, because it was like, oh, we landed on the moon. What's next? We're going to have flying cars. I feel like that was the point in history where everything started to get kind of freaky, and everybody thought that we were going to be in like this space age laser, like Star Wars type world of, I feel like that all started with the moon landing.
Well, of course. What they had before that? You know, the
Nothing.
Jetsons,
Yeah.
you know, the cartoons, or
Wait, was the
you know.
Jetsons before the moon landing? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Jetsons and
Now,
Flintstones were
let's
before
ask
69,
our
right?
Fact finder.
When did the
When did Jetsons come out?
yeah, when did the Flintstones and Jetsons come out?
Oh, the
This will be
Flintstones.
interesting.
I think the Flintstones were out before we walked on the moon. I'm almost positive.
Okay, so the Jetsons came out on September 23rd of 1962.
62.
Oh, it was getting close.
And hold on.
Da-da-da-da.
Daughter Judy.
Yes.
Jane, his wife.
Yeah, I can never unsee the video that somebody remade where Jane, like, he pulls the cash out and Jane grabs his wallet.
Okay. Oh, and the Flintstones came out September
Talking to into the mic.
September 30th of 1960.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that was right. That was right before everything started getting
Getting what?
like
Getting what?
with the moon landing.
I was 4 years old.
I was not around.
when they
Yeah. So
came
I
out.
guess Jetsons were like a little before their time, and then shortly after that we went to the moon. So people probably thought that was like, obviously, like what was going to come next. Like that had to be like, I mean, it seems logical that like, oh, like here are these.
So they took
Space shows and stuff.
So you think they took the Jetsons and was like,
Well,
this
no.
is-
When we
this is what's
landed
gonna
on the
happen?
moon,
Like, come
I
on.
did not
Yes.
expect us to be landing anywhere else
Really?
relatively soon. Oh, as a kid, I'm like, okay, we did that, but you know,
Like that's it.
that was a
like
pretty-
that's it. Like that's,
well for a while because you barely did that, and it's like right over there.
I
You
was
know?
under the assumption.
fucking all those other planets are way the fuck away.
I was under the assumption that like from statements made by like scientists and futurists and stuff like that. Like after the moon landing, it was a pretty big. So before that, they were like, "Oh, we're never gonna land on the moon; it's too far away." And then after that, they were like, "This is it. This is our time. We're gonna go further into space than anyone's ever gone. Like we're gonna travel the galaxy. Like boom, boom, boom." And then it kind of got put to a halt when everyone was like, "Wait a minute! Like you know how far across our galaxy is?"
Well,
and
you
how
know,
long
no, it was like, well, you know what happens to humans in space? You know,
Yeah.
without gravity,
And that's how-
it
yeah.
messes with you. You have to, make artificial gravity somehow using centrifugal force once again.
I don't know if that's a lot of work. I don't know if we'll ever be able to recreate it. I mean, they have made like a black hole in a laboratory, like a small one, and I think they shut it down because they got scared.
I don't know. Can you use some kind of gyroscope machine, like like a little thing that would make? I don't know.
I don't know. There's like we've come so far, and yet there's so much like it's such a massive undertaking, and I feel like the whole world used to be involved in it at one point, whether or not like it was us trying to beat the Russians or whatever. They still have like world space agencies and stuff like that, but now I feel like there's less of a focus on that, which is okay because I think they should focus more on like how to fix us. Like I know there are a lot of people, scientists and stuff, who say like, hey, we should focus on like what's here right in front of us. But then there's others who are like, hey, in like 200,000 years, the sun's going to be too bright for us to live here. So even if we focus on this now, like we're all going to die. So why don't we try and figure out how to leave?
Yes, do both.
Like, can we as a people do that? Like, can people stop being selfish and look at the bigger picture? Or is
No.
it going to be like this
No, they
instant
can't.
gratification thing for the entirety of the rest of the human race?
Well, that's, I guess, maybe the old natural selection will come in and Mother Nature will decide.
Well, Mother Nature always wins.
And we are part of Mother Nature. I mean, if we made a biological weapon. We're some primate who inhabits this planet who's smart enough to make some biological weapon. So,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to us, honestly. There's so many different theories of humans being either we're going to destroy ourselves. One of the theories is that intelligent species destroy themselves with war. One of them is that our sons, intelligent species that live on places like this that are we're a G star, by the way. We're a G star. There are K stars and all kinds of other stars that they think civilizations could live around. But as far as G stars go, they say if anybody was born on a G star, that by the time they get advanced enough to ever do anything, their sun gets too bright and blows out and burns them all to oblivion. And then there's others who are, like maybe we are the only ones here. And then there's others that, the space is too vast for us to travel. Like we've never seen anything, that's, and then you get the crazies that are like, oh, hey, we live in a dome. Hey, the earth is flat. Like there's a giant wall in Antarctica keeping us all in. Like, open the door.
Wait, didn't they just say that they saw a UFO? Isn't that a
They
thing
did.
now?
Oh, they
And
admitted it.
and
yes.
and nobody
And,
batted
came
an
out and was
eye.
That's
like,
because
Nobody even really freaked out about it. Last year we were ready to storm Area 51.
51.
We were gonna Naruto run
That's what
right
I
in
mean.
there.
Naruto run, yeah.
But now what? Now they admitted it, and nobody.
So
And
cares?
isn't it
I'm
great
so
how they
confused.
can do that?
no, here's
So
the
How
thing.
they can
confused.
do that through the mass media?
Don't like it.
I think what was happening was that they were storming Area 51 for proof of alien life. So releasing a UFO. No, right. I'm saying releasing a UFO I don't think was as big of a shock factor because
There's
first of all
always been
no,
sightings.
hang on. That video has been out forever. It's just that the government finally acknowledged that it was a real video, but that video has been out forever. And a UFO could just you could launch. I could take this bonsai tree and fling it with a slingshot as far as I could into the air, and if a plane flies by and they're like,
What the hell is
what
that?
is that? That's a UFO.
Right.
So I think the Area 51 thing is people think we're hiding alien race of
crashed alien
which
jet, a crash.
Or
We're figuring out how to try to, shit like that.
a Roswell type stuff.
Or, all the modern technology we gained because it's from the alien, all this modern, stealth shit and with the jets and stuff. We got all that technology through the,
there's a guy, Dr. I forget his first name, Dr. Greer. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, and he runs the undisclosed, God, I forget the whole name of it. It's like the undisclosure group or something like that, where he'll go through public released government documents, and sometimes he'll be like, "Oh yeah, UFO. What is a UFO?" But other times he's like, "This is proof. These men were out in the woods. It says right here they saw a bright light, and that they touched a spaceship, and they saw all these weird writings, and when they put their hand on it, they saw visions and stuff." And he's I don't want to say crazy.
I looked him up.
Crazy.
No, I looked him up. He is kind of crazy. Yeah.
What's his name? It's Greer, right?
Yeah, Stephen Macon Greer.
Yeah.
He's an American ufologist.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that.
The
moniker.
A
ufologist.
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 So it's almost to me, it's almost like it's like a religion.
Ufologist.
Oh shit, he was born in Charlotte. Wow.
Yeah,
That
it's
explains it.
it's like a religion to these people, almost like it is their religion. It's ufology.
Oh, yeah. He did. He founded the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial intelligence.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's it.
Belief.
I moved it. Are you still in the camera?
Your
I bumped it.
religion
Hey,
could be.
I bumped
Yeah,
it.
he's still
Are
there.
you still centered?
No, he's not centered.
Tell me which way I gotta go.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like religion.
Yeah.
Your religion could be, I believe in this guy, Jesus, and, he died, and his dad is some invisible, powerful man that, can make me go to heaven or hell, depending on how I act. Or, we are descendants of, aliens somehow that bred with some, primates who were my ancestors, and, now we've overrun the planet, yada, yada, and, or, we were, some aliens kind of workforce.
Well,
Let's put these fuckers down here. They got to mine gold. This is one of the places we love that gold shit, man. The aliens, it's good for all kinds of stuff. It's very rare in the universe.
I was telling Kayla the other day. I don't know. She's probably gonna get mad at me for bringing this up. But whatever.
Please, whatever it is, don't.
Okay, that's weird. So my mom was, she's a substitute teacher at my nephew's school, and they were going through like a science book, and it was talking about how many millions of years the Earth is and stuff like that. And it is a Christian school, and the teacher had told them, "Oh yeah, but we don't believe that. Like the Earth is only like 10,000 years old and stuff like that." And after everything was said and done, my mom pulled my nephews to the side and was like, "Listen, anybody that tells you that's not true is crazy." Now, keep in mind, my mom is like super religious, but also is huge into evolution,
Right.
is huge into science and believes that everything can coexist like that, and that, like, yeah, scientists are right. Like, the Earth is not 10,000 years old. Like, that is literally impossible.
Right.
Like, and she will pull my nephews aside and be like, no. And I think that's hilarious. Because they're going to grow up and be like, wait a minute.
I
mean,
yeah,
you shouldn't be- you
the
shouldn't-
Bible, it's like Adam and Eve, and then it's like, okay, well, they had kids, and then
What here's
what happened?
you have
It's like what? I mean,
you have
you had neighbors all of a sudden.
you have
Oh my God.
separation. You have separation of church and state. So you shouldn't, like, a science book. Like, scientists do their thing. It's separate from church and state. Like, there are Christian scientists and creationist scientists, but they don't, like, it's not like, I mean, they come up with their own facts and stuff to fit their narrative, but
Exactly.
But here's the thing. So if you have a science book in a school and someone's saying, okay, the Earth's a couple million years old, like, that's proven. Like, no, even Christian scientists, like, that is proven that the Earth is that much old. You're talking about, like, extreme, like, they have extreme Islams. You have, like, extreme creationists that are like, no, it's only 10,000 years old. But if you're in a class and you're teaching something out of a book, and you don't turn around afterwards and say, well, actually, you see, like, the Earth is only this. No, you're talking about what is in that. If you want to teach a curriculum that goes along with your narrative, then find a book that goes along with your narrative. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't contradict what is absolutely proven. Like, it's been proven for time and time again. There's no way to unprove that the Earth is millions of years old. Like, we couldn't have got to where we are.
How
in
can
10,000
you
years.
unprove that?
You can't unprove that because the Earth would have had to form. The Earth didn't just, like, we've seen other planets that are formed. We've seen how other stars work. We've seen supernovas. We've seen stars created. We've seen nebulas and galaxies. And, we're going to crash into the Andromeda galaxy in like a million years.
Please do not bring that up.
You don't think this could be some alien big production movie where they just went all out and pulling out all the stops and making it look real?
They could. That's actually one of the theories is that we're in a dome and that giant people are looking in on us. Like, the moon is that the stars in the sky and the planets are all projections
Well,
of.
actually, we're each like an individual story to some alien watching us.
Yeah.
That's
that
each human has their own channel.
I said this on Facebook the other day. That Mars.
And
Mars
when you get canceled, well, then
that's when you die.
Yeah, and then you come back again as another show, in another life.
Here's one. I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast, and Elon Musk, I don't know if he believes it. I don't know if he believes it or if he just says it. Believes that this is all a simulation, like a VR simulation.
Absolutely, alien VR simulation.
But someone brings up a good point. What if one day, instead of trying to traverse a galaxy or traverse the universe, that virtual reality gets so good that we make our own version? Because in virtual reality, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right? What if that becomes what if that becomes our universe? So is there a difference between traversing your own galaxy and universe in real time versus doing it in virtual reality where you're doing the same thing, it's just you're more capable of it? Like, that would be your new reality. So theoretically, you could be someone's simulation.
Oh, well, thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's an endless possibility. Like it's like us trying to imagine what 4 dimensions looks like. You can't. Like, we can't even describe what it looks like. Just like we can't explain to a 2-dimensional, like you couldn't explain to this table what 3 dimensions is. Because it's 2-dimensional and it can't perceive that we're, like, this table doesn't even know we're here. If this table was alive, we wouldn't exist to it because it can't see us because we're on a different plane.
But it's 3-dimensional to me.
No.
It's 3-dimensional
it doesn't
to
have
you.
eyes.
And it's a 3-dimensional object.
Yes.
But it doesn't have eyes, so it can't see us.
Exactly.
That's not
Well,
right.
no. It's because here's why.
Can it feel us?
Someone explained this. I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Explained this perfectly. Is that
so? He's the expert of the universe.
One of them.
That's what they want you to think.
No, think of it this way.
It's a plot.
So
he's really an alien
from 2 dimensions
disguised as a human, talking about aliens.
He might be, but from 2 dimension to 3 dimension, it's like having space. He said, think of it like space, right? So you're in 2 dimension, you run out of space. That's it. You're out of space. But being in the 3rd dimension, we're like, hey, we can open that closet door. They can't do that in 2 dimensions. So we open the closet door. And now our whole 3-dimensional world is all the space until we fill it up. And then what happens? Nothing. You fill it all up. But to the 4th dimension, they could just open up a drawer that the 3rd dimension lives in and use all that space. So every dimension you go up, you create yourself more space. So the 4th dimension can see 3rd dimension and 2nd dimension. 3rd dimension, we can see 3D and 2D. But we can't see 4D. Like 9th dimension can see 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, let that sink in.
Oh, you lost me a long time ago. I was thinking about something else.
What? Where'd I lose you?
What?
Pick me up here, Kayla.
What?
Do some sound things.
Oh, give him a.
That was good.
No, give him the blue one. Give him the blue one.
Which one?
The blue. That one. There we go.
That was
What was that?
I don't know. It was like
That's
spooky.
But no, I've heard it before.
No, that's almost like a it's almost like Twilight
It
Zone.
was,
almost.
but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who made that?
I don't know. It just
Oh
came,
my
it came
God,
standard.
no,
with it.
that's a.
I gotta
One
change
of
them
my
out.
kids used to say something like that.
They used to talk in music?
What? Which one?
I don't know.
Which kid? Was it me?
Could have been.
Possibly.
Could have been.
There we go. Drum roll. But
Oh, good.
But no, I'm just saying, like it's a bizarre thing because we don't know how many dimensions they are. Like, they think the universe is. I mean, the
There's
universe
probably a lot.
technically, like if you look at it, as a whole, the universe is flat.
Bitch, what?
Yeah. Like if you take all the background images and stuff like that, like the universe is flat. Like you can lay it all out flat. So we're 3D in like a 2D plane. Because how would it, it's not like the universe is a giant circle. Like it's just an infinite thing. So it's flat, but we're 3 dimensions in a 2-dimensional thing, unless it's a different dimension entirely that we don't know about.
The fuck?
Yeah, let him just go.
I'm sorry. No. I was just. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack it. I was just. It's
go.
one of those things.
No.
I just.
No.
I'm just fascinated the fact that we're on this big fucking, piece like a balloon.
Yeah.
Because the shell of this, the shell of this Earth is so little, and then it's like filled with this molten rock shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we got an atmosphere around us. So we're like this balloon filled with liquid rock that's hot, floating around in this giant void around this big sun thing. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
And we're going somewhere.
At like thousands of miles an hour, we're doing this.
Yeah, flying.
We're actually
hundreds of thousands of miles.
And
we don't even know how fast we are going in relation to the sun. And I don't know. Maybe they know. And the other, whatever.
Oh, we do. We're actually moving.
Whatever the, base mark of speed is in the universe. Because what do you judge how fast you're going from? Because you don't know what your base point is. Like, we're going from here to here. Well, I don't know. I could be going from here to there.
Yeah, you want to know what's weird? They tried to figure stuff like that out, but you know what the problem is? Is that no matter where you start your point at, where you think you came from, no matter where you're at in the universe, you're in the center of the universe. Because it's so expansive that no matter where you put yourself, you're still the distance from certain things, and it puts you like, if you were to go 10 light years away, you'd be in the center of the universe. If you come back here, like now we're in the center of the universe. It's weird, but not only do the galaxies move, right? The whole universe is expanding, but then the galaxies are moving through the universe, right?
All right.
But wait. Check this out. So the universe is just expanding. We don't know what's going to happen. It's just expanding. Maybe into another universe, maybe into another dimension. Like we don't know. But then the galaxies are moving through the universe, right? But now we are moving through the galaxy. Like the sun isn't a stationary thing in a galaxy. Like the sun is also moving at thousands of miles an hour in a direction. So the galaxies also, like we're moving within the galaxy, which is moving within the universe, which is also moving.
Yeah, the galaxy is moving. And
so we never stop. Everything is in constant motion. Yeah. That's a crazy place we live. They have what did they discover? Like they discovered like things like liquid fire ice. If you put ice under enough pressure, it will actually still be ice but be on fire.
Really? Under certain atmosphere.
Yeah, there's like planets that are fire ice. There's also gas giants like the size of Jupiter that revolve around the sun. They don't know how the heck that happened. Because they thought that everywhere was going to form like our solar system, but it appears that that's not the case.
Well, yeah, they have like rivers of ice under, our planet, that the water is like super cool to where it's like a liquid ice that's actually colder than frozen ice. But, it's just weird shit like that.
Yeah, they have moons that have liquid methane on it. Like Titan looks almost like Earth in the fact that it's got lakes and mountains and an atmosphere and stuff. But it's all like, its lakes, it's so cold that its lakes are actually like liquid methane. Yeah. So you could swim across it. I mean, you die, but you could swim across it.
Liquid methane.
Well, then you couldn't swim across it.
How do you know how would you die? Because methane doesn't hurt.
You can't.
Well, no,
can't
like if you he can't be like, oh yeah, you can swim across. Like you die, but you could swim. No, you can't swim across it if you die.
Well, if you had like a oxygen thing to breathe. Your
Well, I mean,
oxygen. Could you swim on the methane, or would it be like toxic to your skin?
Methane's pretty toxic. You wouldn't be able to survive on that. That'd be like the
Is
worst
it like
frozen.
methamphetamine thing?
No,
Methane?
no. It's just something that our bodies can't. But if you learned how to use methane, like we
Would
use
it be like
oxygen and
swimming in
nitrogen.
gasoline?
No, or like, I mean, maybe, yeah, they use methane and gasoline. That's kind of what it is. But it's like super cool, like liquid methane. It's not like gas. Like when you have exhaust, it's like methane exhaust.
Would it be
But
like
if it was,
would it be like swimming in Frosted Flakes?
I don't know. I've never swam in Frosted Flakes.
Okay.
That sounds like something you could do tomorrow, though.
So it says that the density of liquid methane is much lower than water,
Yes.
Which means
so you wouldn't be as buoyant.
so
You wouldn't be as buoyant, but
Yeah,
you could
that's
still.
what
Could
it
you swim
says.
across it?
Well,
You wouldn't be as buoyant. You'd have to. It would take more effort to swim.
well.
It
You
would.
would sink.
Well, it says swimming on Earth is easy because humans aren't.
You gotta
as
talk
dense
into
as
the. You gotta
water.
talk into the mic.
I hate you. No, your body would be more dense than the liquid
Mhm.
methane.
You would sink
I think, yeah.
Well, there you
like
go.
a rock, unless
Yeah.
you were.
How cold does it have to be for methane to become liquid?
Hold on.
Because
Hmm.
yeah, if you could figure out a way, I mean, you could mine that methane. Imagine going to a place with that much methane.
What would you use it for?
Gas
Methane gas?
or natural gas. You could do all kinds of stuff with it. Yeah, it's like an
Well,
unlimited
that's
supply.
Well, that's why we have cows.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have an unlimited supply of this stuff.
Well,
Unlimited. They're not going to mine the whole place out. Like the atmosphere, literally, it rains methane.
Hmm.
You know, there's planets that rain diamond. Imagine that.
Oh, okay. So the temperature on Titan, is that the planet or
Yes, Titan is the moon. Yes.
the moon? Yeah. So it's minus 300 degrees
Yeah.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So
Liquid methane.
that's the Yeah, that's it.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
minus
insane.
300 degrees.
But if you were to
That
look
is
at it,
so cold.
yeah, if you were to look at it, it looks like Earth. Like it looks like it has lakes and it has rivers and it has mountains and it looks just like Earth, but it's liquid methane.
Hmm.
That's upsetting. Ugh.
And
But
what
they're
kind
starting-
of life lives there?
None.
Yeah,
But they're
yeah.
actually starting to drill in moons like Europa and stuff. They've got plans, from what I understand, in the next 10 years to go to these moons because they're actually, they're 100% sure that there's liquid oceans under the ice because, so one of Jupiter's moons, Europa, actually shoots geysers out of it. And there's cracks in the surface, which shows that the ice shifts, that they know for a fact there's liquid water under it. Because you know there's thermal vents at the bottom of the ocean where no light gets to, where stuff lives. Like at the bottom of the ocean. Like no light gets
Like
down
our
there.
ocean?
Yes. Yeah. There's thermal vents. So they don't even use like oxygen and nitrogen and stuff like we do in our atmosphere. They actually use like a completely different set of nutrients when they survive down there.
Coming from the inner earth.
Yeah, it's basically that's basically as close to alien as we've gotten. Because they don't even function like we do.
Yes.
No
On our own
photosynthesis
planet.
or anything down there.
Yeah, but it's still life.
It's life. Yeah.
It's life. And
I mean,
what
all
is
that
the
defines
key?
life is you could find a microbial, tiny
Plankton.
anything.
little diatom.
I mean, I don't suspect that we're gonna find, a civilization somewhere in the near future. But if we went to some other planet and we discovered microbial life, imagine what that would do to our understanding of the universe. Like, okay, we're not the only ones here. Like, we're the only humans, but like, we're not the only ones here. We're not alone.
And on that note, you want to wrap this up?
Well, I like to, I understand this whole thing is about getting sponsors for the show and stuff like that. So, I'd like to have a shout out to some people that, I've made arrangements to that I would do that in return for, certain things. So, I'd like to do that now, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Let's
hear you shout out your
Yeah,
sponsors.
shout them out, Dad.
Also, before we forget, can we get the GoFundMe for the alligator lady?
Did you look that up?
Oh,
Cindy
can you look that
Covert.
up?
Cindy Covert.
And I'll have it. I'll put it in the description link once we go. But
I will look it up.
you were saying that the lady that got killed in an alligator like 2 weeks ago. There's a GoFundMe page for like
There's a
funeral costs and
GoFundMe
stuff like
page.
that.
Yes.
Fund me page.
For those that didn't know, a lady got eaten by an alligator. And where was it?
Kiowa Island.
Kiowa.
Yeah.
Very nice lady.
And
A friend of mine.
yeah.
Personal friend of mine was very close to her, and she's a very nice lady, and very unfortunate what happened. And there's a GoFundMe page for her, and we'll get that to you at the next break. But getting back to my sponsors.
Who are the sponsors for this
Oh, yeah.
episode? Let's hear.
The Blue Light Massage Parlor on the corner of Remount Road and Bendover Avenue. I'll be coming in tomorrow to get the payment for my plug for your massage parlor tonight, and I'd also a shout out to my good friends at Casey Mulligan's, the best dive bar east of the Mississippi. And
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
All the great people at Atlantic Coast Pool Service.
Yes.
Get in the pool. We'll do the rest.
I like it.
That's
good. I like it. That was
good.
actually a really good plug.
That was good.
Well, thank you for coming out and
You're welcome.
doing the first show, first guest, first show. So I'm sure we'll get plenty of feedback.
Yeah.
That's always the first one that's the most nerve-wracking because people are like, wow, during this part, you should have done this.
I
During
came
this
so
part.
prepared.
So anyway, we're going to take off. And thanks for coming out. And we'll have you back on again very soon. And next time we'll actually have we got to figure out exactly what.
I will do my homework next time and, have some statistics and maybe people who could call in and harass us.
Yeah, we're going to do call-ins soon.
Maybe I'll get like a imposter famous person.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll say, hey, let's call Donald Trump, and I'll have a guy impersonate Donald Trump, and you could
I think we
answer
could get
questions.
sued for that. Maybe.
Cool.
I don't know. I don't have any money.
I mean, don't they do that on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, but they have what do they call it? Artistic, whatever it's called. But yeah, see, I spent all my money on this equipment, so I'm broke. So I'm not trying to get a lawyer. I mean, it depends on what he said. He could impersonate him, but if he starts coming out with like random facts and statistics, like we're trying to play it off like it's real, I might get in trouble for that. I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to call him and ask.
Okay, so we have to hire an attorney for the show now. Like a kind of a, you can say this, but you can't say that kind of thing.
I have his toupee on speed dial, so I'll just give him a call and see if that's legal.
Very cool.
Crazy. All right. Well,
we could change the names of people. You could just change a few letters instead of calling them this, you call them that.
yeah. I wish we had outro music, but we don't.
But you don't.
Let's give a clap. Let's give a clap for your dad for coming out.
I don't know which one that is.
Press something.
I think it's the top. This one.
Do the one.
There we go. All right, Bob. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, it was great being here.